And welcome to WP Bosses episode number 16. We're talking with James Rose from Content Snare. Let's just introduce everyone, starting with Nik. Nik, who are you?
Hey there, I am Nik Cree. I've got a small agency up on the Gold Coast called Positive Business Online. We build websites, funnily enough, with WordPress, and tend to work with the small to medium business market, and that's about it, really.
And I am Robey Lawrence from Bearded Friend. I have a beard and I can be your friend. James, who are you?
Hey, I'm James from Content Snare, and I'm a web designer that ex-web designer, used to have a small web design business similar to Nik, probably not as good, definitely not as good. And we moved into software with Content Snare. I mean, we've always had software on the side, but this is just our latest project that we're making our focus.
Yeah, nice. Well,
I've just realised something though.
Uh-oh.
You're the bearded friend. We're all bearded, so we must all be friends.
Well, yeah, I think that I was the first.
He's got a bigger beard. It counts more.
Yeah, I feel a bit sort of unimportant. I was going to say impotent, but unimportant.
Sorry about that, Nik. Really am. We'll get back to you in a second, James. But Nik, do you have a business tip for us this month?
A business tip this month. Well, funnily enough, it's not much about WordPress development or design at all, but it is a quick hack to create your content, which seems to be the thing that most people struggle with. And something that should take a few hours, less than a week, often takes months, years, decades to actually get right. So one quick tip is grab your iPhone, go for a walk for about an hour, and just speak into your iPhone, record the whole thing. When you get back, send the recording off to a transcriber, something like rev.com, which is about $1 a minute. And when you get the transcripts back, you've probably got most of your content there. All you need to do is massage it and pull out all the ums and ahs and those fillers, and you could probably organise it a lot quicker too. So that way there, you should be able to get your content done in 90 minutes. Just recording it, and probably less than a week if you just spend time massaging it. So for those that struggle with content, there's the tip of the week.
Lovely, lovely. And I've got the easy bit. My service of the week is Content Snare, but instead of me telling you about Content Snare, I'm going to let James tell you about Content Snare. Take it away, James.
Oh, alrighty. Geez, how far back do we go? So I mean, we got into web design kind of by accident because we were always in software. And when you mention software to people, like normal people that aren't nerds, they seem to lump it in together with web design and anything to do with computers. Like the web designer can probably fix your motherboard at the same time in their eyes.
Can't tell you how many calls I get to say, oh, can you fix my emails?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep. Anyway, so and they basically just lumped their stories on us about bad web developers and designers and stuff like this. And we thought, let's get into that then. It can't be that bad. So that's what led us down the web design path. We kind of always had the plan. I had a plan to get into software again, and that sort of came up last year when we had the initial idea for Content Snare. It was a little bit different in the beginning, but I interviewed 15 local designers, one of them being Nik, actually.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I've still got the notes from that call somewhere in my OneNote, I think. And it kind of, everyone actually talked about content. Actually, you know what I remember, Nik, is that you had one of the best processes out of everyone I spoke to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you definitely had, it wasn't as much of an issue for you as everybody else because you just had it dialed in. But it was a big problem for everybody. So we sort of sat down to try and come up with an idea of how we could streamline that process for everyone and make it a bit easier. And that's how we, I guess, built Content Snare, which is right now, version 1, I'd say. What I tell people is that it's a form builder on steroids with automatic follow-ups, which is pretty much it. that's putting it
WordPress and Gravity Forms then.
Sorry?
WordPress and Gravity Forms then.
Yeah, that's what we used to use. That's what some people do. I guess you could jerry rig something up with Gravity Forms, Save and Continue, Active Campaign, and various other bits and pieces. But it definitely makes it a lot easier. That's the plan. Yeah, that's where we're at now.
Yeah, cool. So how long ago did Content Snare launch?
Officially about a month or a month and a half, maybe. I can't remember now. The last like 2 months of my life are just kind of a blur with all this. But we started coding, I think, in January or December. Did the UX before that. But yeah, sort of beta for maybe a month before we launched, and then yeah, so it's just trying to grow the bloody thing now.
Yeah, cool. So still pretty new.
Yes, very new.
You did go back quite far, but can you go back a bit further and tell us what you did in the first couple of years after high school?
Oh, geez. After high school, I went to uni and got drunk a lot. That's I did engineering. I did infomechatronics, which is UUT's take on mechatronics. It's not really much different, which I kind of tell people is a combination. Well, it's just computer-controlled machines is what I ended up in. Building user interfaces for machines. So I don't know if you're familiar with PLC programming and SCADA. But actually was involved in the Gold Coast water project. So if anything goes wrong down there, it was probably my fault, Nick.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, if you run out of water.
Someone that works there, so he's always there, so trying to manage it. He's an engineer too.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my background. The only reason we ended up in software is because I don't know if you remember the AdSense gold rush, but that was, you know, I think I learned about that in like 2008, where you just built websites and put ads on them and tried to get them to rank in Google.
Mate, that's what I came to Australia for. You know, shifted countries, AdSense was going to be the way. I'm going to sit in a cafe and make millions, and I was going to retire after a year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was probably my plans. Yeah. And then we were doing article spinning at the time. That was like the big thing then. It was a really effective way to get backlinks and rank your sites. And we were using some software that just sucked ass. And we thought, I was sitting down with my now business partner at lunch, and we went, let's build something better. And we realized very quickly we have no idea how to market things. So I've spent 7 years unlearning being an engineer and learning how to sell shit.
Well, that was what I was going to ask, because this Content Snare that you've launched, your marketing, I must have got 15,000 emails, I think, from Thunderclap and from Facebook and from, I don't know where they all came from. And I thought, mate, you've got a machine running there. This has got to take off, so no matter what. Yeah,
well, I don't know no matter what, but I'm quite I guess sensitive. Like, I don't want to piss people off with too many emails. You know, like I wrote an email to this morning, and I wanted to send it out, but I know there's like a countdown going on at the moment for the end of the launch discount. And I thought, you know what, I don't want that to go out, you know, just bombard people. So I scheduled it for a few days. You know, I try not to bombard people, so sorry.
I didn't feel bombarded. I was just looking at your process thinking, oh, where's this all come from? How is he doing this? And just looking at all the different media that you're using.
Yeah.
And, it was a good, it looked like it was a reasonably good sort of cohesive system. I mean, the reality might have been quite different, but it looked like it was reasonably cohesive and covering quite a wide range of platforms.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, there's a ton of automation involved in the social side of things. Especially with like sharing content. That's a big thing I try to do is like share relevant content into the group and, you know, on all our social medias and writing good blog posts, you know, that people actually want to read. But, you know, as far as the social goes, most of it's automated and the emails, you know, they're just lined up to go out. I don't know. It's just a little bit here and there, man. I guess it all adds up. It's nothing nothing groundbreaking, that's for sure. It's kind of like 5 to 7 years worth of learning about online business. Not having anything to do it with. Now all the knowledge is coming out and helping me sell something, I guess.
So how would you characterize yourself? Are you a web developer, designer, software engineer, marketer, entrepreneur?
I'm definitely swinging towards the marketing side of things. I used to be I was a coder through and through for the first, I don't know, maybe 6 years, really. I wrote a few WordPress websites, but I was more on the full custom web development side of things. So I was a C# guy. Then I learned Ruby on Rails, and I was involved in some big projects for the old engineering company that I used to work for. And everything I did was code, and I still love code. It's just it's kind of doesn't lend itself well to running a business. I think it's kind of hard when I lose a whole day to fix one bug.
I know that one.
Yeah, so I kind of have taken myself more and more out of that process, and I sat in on a code review last night, actually, and I had no idea what was going on. So officially, I have no goddamn clue when it comes to code anymore.
Doesn't take long to lose it, does it?
No, not at all. I think he'd pick it up again pretty quick, but it's just one of those things I don't have time for. As much as I did love it, I remember dancing around this office a couple of times after fixing something that was pissing me off for days.
So when you were building websites for clients, was it just you, or did you have a small team?
Started as pretty much just me. While my business partner worked on our old software. It was pre-content Snare. And then I slowly grew that. So we had a small team in the Philippines that worked on projects, WordPress projects. Now we've got a team in Russia as well that help us with our custom web apps that we build for other people and our internal stuff. But yeah, it just sort of slowly grew. Like it started as me, and then me and like one guy that helped me with maintenance and like small stuff. And then we got another developer who was a bit more advanced, and then it got too hard to manage. So we put in a project manager, which allowed us to hire like 3 more developers because she could manage all of them. And that's kind of how it grew.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So what was your experience of that? I mean, the outsourcing world is something that is a mix of, I suppose, I was going to say joy and frustration, but more frustration than joy.
Yes. Yeah, no, and I mean, we've been burned hard, like on both sides of things from WordPress and the custom web app dev. Multi 5 figures lost due to bad developers on single project type stuff. And what I've basically learned is in the beginning, I think you have to manage them. You have to be really attentive to what they're producing in the beginning and get rid of them quickly if it's not up to standard, basically. And creating standards, like if you got a certain process for the way you build WordPress websites, like a certain starter theme. This is where we make CSS changes. This is where here's the WordPress code guidelines, because most of the guys you're going to hire probably haven't been through that, especially in the Philippines. Like they've probably learned how to write code just willy-nilly. I don't know, working for other people, and sometimes you get them and they just got bad habits that you have to break. Sometimes you can't break them and you just got to let them go. It's really, there's no formula for it. I think code testing is number one to filter out the bad people, like, the obviously bad people before they even get in. And then just monitoring, in the early days, like the whole fire fast kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm looking at jumping into this space pretty soon. So I've been reading up a lot about this kind of thing, specifically looking at the Philippines. Why did you go to Russia? What's there? Is that just for the web app or the app kind of space? Is that where they're?
Yeah.
Or was it just a recommendation from Donald Trump?
Legend, that guy. That has just kind of happened. I mean, we hired a lot of different people from a lot of different places over time, and sort of some guys faded in and out, or, you know, we had to let them go, or projects finished. And we noticed over time that our best guys were from Ukraine and Russia. And then we hired a bunch of those, and they fought a whole bunch. So we had to pick one.
So they don't get on too well?
No, it didn't. But I mean, what I like about Russians is they tell you how it is. Like, if they think some code sucks, they'll tell you. Most of them are pretty bloody good at English. I don't know. I find that they're great developers, really good work ethic. They seem to put in a lot of hours and really want stuff to work. I mean, obviously you get all kinds of people in every culture, but consistently Russians have been our best. The only thing that sucks is the time zone. They literally start work at 5 p.m. here. So you're trying to like sign off, and they're like, "Good morning." You're like, shit. I gotta stay on the computer.
So value for money, like one of the things about outsourcing is you can get something done for $1.50 an hour.
Yeah, not in Russia.
But then you spend sort of another 6 weeks fixing it.
That's
so Russia is probably a bit more expensive, is it? But
a lot more expensive, yeah. So Philippines, I mean, you can hire full time for a decent WordPress dev, maybe cost you I think around 8, 9 an hour. I haven't done the maths in a while. This is Aussie dollars, obviously. That's full time, but you know, a good dev. So they're all Ruby on Rails and Angular guys we've got. So that probably demands a higher rate by itself. But you know, you go up to in the 20s US dollars. You know, some guys will charge more, like in the 30s. But as you guys would know, the difference between like a crappy developer and a really good developer, it's not like other industries where you pay double, you get double as good at maybe 3 times as good a person. It's like 100x with developers, right? Like, because if you don't have to go back in and fix all the crap, and they just do it right the first time, you can pay 5 times the amount and get, you know, 50 times the I guess the skill, or you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a much bigger return to pay someone who really knows what they're talking about. But on that same note, if you pay $50 an hour, doesn't mean you're going to get someone good.
Yeah.
You could be just wasting your money.
Yeah, exactly.
So with Content Snare specifically, how much would you say that takes to run in the back end at the moment? Do you have like a little team dedicated to that, or have you got it 100% automated?
So I have a business partner. I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but I got one of my best mates from work days. We sort of joined forces. He's like a developer extraordinaire, and now he's developer manager extraordinaire. So he pretty much handles all of that, does a bit of the code as well. I think we've got 3 guys currently on Content Snare, because we're on a big push to get what we're calling critical issues sorted out, or critical features that we think need to be in there before we sort of ramp that down to maybe 1 guy for now. So we had quite a few guys on it to get it done, and to a high standard, you know, I guess. Because this one's not so much bootstrapped, it's more self-funded, right? Like, we had some money from previous ventures. We wanted to make sure it was a bit better than your classic MVP, where, you know, everything's kind of band-aided together.
Yeah.
And your beta testers are all the users when you go and launch it.
Sorry?
And the beta testers are all the users when you sort of launch it.
Yeah, that's right. So that was a thing in itself, is getting people to actually use it in beta, which was quite difficult because they didn't want to use it. It's like a client-facing app, so they were a bit reluctant to use something that's in beta with their clients. So that was a bit of a pain.
Yeah. So where are you going? Like you've had this journey from engineering through to development and software development. Where would you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would say this. Software has always been my passion. I love building it. I love marketing it. Yeah, it's always been what I wanted to do. We've just never had something that I was super confident was going to be it. Well, we were in the article spinning days, and then, you know, Google kind of screwed that up. And then we had our second product, Silver Siphon, which is it's kind of like a, you know, single feature app type thing, so that, you know, we're always kind of looking for something that we could build into like a bigger brand, and help some more people. So this is definitely what I want to do. Web design was kind of a way to work with lots of clients to find a problem to solve. I didn't expect that problem would be in web design, but that's where we are now.
Yeah. And you've nailed the biggest problem, I think, in web design.
It does seem that way. Some of the language we get in the things people write, like the frustration. When frustration comes through in text, you know something's really up.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I did have one person who trying to extract content from them, and he was in the trades industry. He was a plumber, and so had to map out, send him a template. So just fill out this. He says, "Well, what's there to say? I'm the best plumber in Sydney." End of story.
Was that the main headline then?
Yeah, that's it. Just got to try and stretch that out, you know, for another sort of 3,000 words, and we're there.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, James, I see there's an electric drum kit in the mirror. How's your paradiddle?
It's okay. Not that I practice it very often. It's kind of new, to be honest. I only started learning in December, but
nice.
I've wanted to learn since I was 15. So parents didn't want me getting electric kits didn't exist back then.
Yep. No, I know.
Why?
Cardboard boxes and pans.
Do you play?
Oh, I did. I sold my kit a few years ago, but yeah, I probably started when I was about 15 or a little bit before that.
Wow.
Used to play mostly in schools and church things, but
oh wow.
Yeah, I'd like to get an electric kit again because I have nowhere to put a proper one.
Yeah, it doesn't take up much room. I'm very surprised it fits in here, to be honest. There's a lot of crap, like basically under this line right here. It's a shit show. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the old TV presenters thing, you know? Like,
yeah.
They've got their suit on, but underneath it's just boxer shorts.
Basically.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm wearing pants today.
Oh, thanks.
But I noticed you're standing. Have you got a standing desk, have you?
I do. Yeah. I don't always stand. I got a stool here, but I kind of like standing up for podcasts and stuff, or like, at least a little bit of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's supposed to be killing us sitting down, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know how much I believe all that.
One day coffee's killing you, the next day it's keeping you alive. So
yeah. Just like eggs.
I think it's just important to have a balance, like have a wine in the morning, a beer at night, and a whiskey just before you go to bed. It's a good balance.
If you got a port in there, I'm all for it.
Oh, absolutely. That's when I wake up.
Yeah.
Love port.
So what would you say your biggest challenges are at the moment?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was just thinking of this the other day. Definitely getting people to sign up. But right now, it's trying to work out where the bottlenecks in that sign-up process are. Like, we've got our initial, bunch of users. We've got a reasonable amount of paying users given how long we've been open. But it's kind of trickled off, and now it's trying to work out how to kick that up again, because obviously we had the email list and the pre-launch list, which gave us that big boost at the start. And now it's trying to keep that coming in and streamlining, like working out where people are dropping off. And the biggest frustration there is friggin' analytics, like, because 55% of our traffic is direct. And
so you don't know where they're actually coming from.
Yeah, and search, which, obviously search is rubbish now because it doesn't correlate, with the whole keyword SSL thing that analytics do now. So yeah, we straight up have no goddamn clue where half of our signups are coming from, and that's it's just killing us. And trying to work out where that drop off is too. You know, from like there's a big drop off at the moment between people putting their emails in to like sign up and then actually finishing creating their account.
Really?
Which is strange. I think I found what that bottleneck was and fixed it. It's just constant, you know, finding out what the problems are. You know, a lot of people were getting in there and then bailing and saying, I don't know how to use it. So we created a very quick onboarding video. I remember hearing a software thing a while back and getting the person to the, oh, wow point as fast as possible. So we've tried to do that. You know, so that seems to have worked. A lot of the requests have gone down in how, you know, I'm confused. I don't know how to use it.
So you're getting a lot of support requests around that, were you?
Yeah, I mean, not like in numbers, but in percentage wise. Yeah, I mean, we don't get a whole lot of support requests yet, but a lot of the people were confused, you know. So that was a big problem. So we fixed that. We put in a, you know, knowledge base and some videos and some onboarding stuff with Intercom, and that seems to have fixed it, you know. But now the problem is getting people to sign up and getting them back in there and make sure they use it and hit that wow point immediately after they sign up, you know, so they can see.
That's an interesting thing too, because do you find that there's a good chunk of people that actually sign up for an account and then never actually use it?
I should know the answer to that, given we've got all the analytics there for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's definitely been a thing, because we set up mixed panel so we can see that kind of thing, and we know who's actually, you know, how many, if they've created their first request. The next step is for actually us to go in there and look at that and work out where they're getting stuck. Again, this is a bloody time thing. Everything's a time thing.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing Naked Whines. That's a wine club here in Australia, which is local wineries, and they had a really good process, I thought, because they take $40 out of your account every month, and that sort of builds up. And I built up a balance, I think, close to $300. And a couple of times they'd sent me an email to say, you know, you got $100 in there. This is worth so many cases of wine. How about we help you choose something? So they sent out an email, I go back in there and choose something sort of thing. So they're really keen to get you to spend the money, because if you keep spending the money, then you're going to keep that direct debit going to keep putting money into it. But if you let it accrue and accumulate to, you know, your $500, $600, and you're likely to stop it because you're not using it. So they really sort of are active trying to get you to use their program, so it becomes a bit of a habit. But I guess that's, I don't know how you do that with yours. It'd be nice to do that, but you know, it's like, how do you encourage people to use a platform like this?
Yeah, I kind of like that with the whole build-up system. That, you know, something like that would be kind of nice, I guess. You know, every business model is different, but I like that idea, because then you could, you know, you've got that money going in, then you could go and splurge on some nice wine, you know. But with us, it's just a matter of trying to work out where those sticky points are and see what's stopping them from taking that next step. And I tell you, one of the biggest ones we've had, actually, just jogged my memory, is they're not ready. They don't have a project ready to go with Content Snare when they sign up. They're like, oh, this looks great, I want to play around with it. But unless they're just starting a website project, it's kind of not the right time. So we've got that bit of lag effect going on at the moment, where people want to use it, but they don't have a project. So we have to wait like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and hopefully they don't forget about us. So how do we remind them that we exist? So that's where we're at. But yeah, once they do use it, I think they see the value pretty quickly. You know, it's just getting them to keep coming back, which tools like Intercom make quite easy, because you can see when last activity was and that kind of stuff, and you just send them emails or little pop-ups or notifications to get them back in.
That's an app, that's a script that's on the side, is it, like in the panel? And
yeah, so Intercom is that little live chat thing you see in the bottom right of like half the websites on the internet these days. It's a super powerful platform that covers like a few things, right? Like onboarding or live chat and support You can bolt a knowledge base into it as well. But yeah, there's quite a lot of cool little rules you can do. Like the first time someone visits the settings page, show them this pop up. And you can just, with one little bit of script, you can set all that up, which it's very handy for sort of getting users to the point you want them to get to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. No more questions.
I'm fresh out of questions.
Well, I'm not. I've got a few more to go here.
Okay. All right.
I'm actually interested in your, I suppose your outside life as well. I mean, your drum kit is one thing, but what do you do when you're not sitting in front of a computer? I mean, or is that all you do?
These days. last couple of months have been pretty bad because of the Content Snare launch, plus some stuff going on with Silver Siphon and just a whole lot of things sort of converging. But about 3 weeks ago, I actually just went, you know what, screw this. I need to go on holidays. And I went to New Zealand. So snowboarding is that's my thing.
Yeah.
So to go on a couple of trips a year, every few years, try to get away for a bigger trip, month or two. Yeah, but a lot of outdoorsy stuff. Me and my girlfriend are hikers. Do a lot of hiking or, taking the dog for a run or getting boozed. That's up there.
Yeah, but I think that's a result of being a developer.
Probably. Yeah, no, I see that. Especially lately, I was supposed to be doing Dry July, and I was in New Zealand, and I was like, you know what? I'm here to de-stress. I don't even care. It's like I just put up a status before. Actually, I was like, Dry July was a great success. I got drunk on only 8 days.
So really, there's good room for improvement next year.
Plenty. Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, it sounds like you're pretty committed at the moment. And I feel like all of us, it's like you haven't made the millions yet to sort of sit back, retire, have a whole lot of Russians working for you, and sort of a Filipino managing them. So, but do you see a time when you can see that actually coming true, or does it feel like you're just so much in the moment and so much in the business at the moment that you can't see the point of extraction?
I feel like I can, but at the same time, I know it's going to be a big, long, hard slog to get there. My goals, the whole millions thing, that's not my goals. It's never has been. I'm quite content with sort of equaling my old pay as an engineer, at the mines, which is reasonable. I can't. Yeah, not doing so well anymore out there, but my biggest goal is lifestyle, right? So I think a SaaS business is somewhat conducive to that because you can put people in place for support and for handling sort of major things. I guess you can do that with any business, really. Like you could put in a local project manager for web design. I think that would have been our next step on that side of things. But yeah, lifestyle has been my goal, and I think that is kind of there. I can see it, but I know it's going to be a long slog to get there. Like I joked with people with the launch, like, oh, how long till I buy a yacht? Will it be in like a month? But obviously that's a joke, and it's just going to be a slog, getting one more user after one more user and sending one more welcome video.
Every user counts.
That's it, and we'll get there. I hope.
I mean, it's an interesting industry you work in too, because I guess your client base are web developers and web designers. But it's fairly transient as well. People come and go.
It's true.
Lots of new people as well come into the industry. And then you've got some of the larger businesses that have got their own systems and procedures who possibly wouldn't use your software. So how do you see that affecting that whole process?
Yeah, to be honest, I've thought about it, but that was the end of it because it's kind of something I can't know until I actually see it in action, right? We'll work out what the churn is in the next few months. It's the only way to really know. I think a lot of the people first coming in are very much reluctant to lay down money on subscriptions. There sort of seems to be a trend I've noticed with quite a few people. So they might not even sign up in the first place. This is all just theories though, right? Like, well, we're not going to know.
It's probably right. I mean, I know that, for me, like, I don't know how many $40 a month subscriptions I've got. But,
Same.
It's like, the thought of adding another $40 subscription, it's only $40, but on top of the other 140 that I've got, so that I'm paying $40 a month for, it's like, it sort of starts to add up, and you sort of think, well, we're getting a return off it. What do we do? How do we sort of cut our costs and increase our profits and actually have things that are really of value, and then other stuff we'll just manage manually. So,
and that was you got the question right there when you said, are we getting return from it? And that's the big question you have to ask yourself with any subscription. Like if you are paying for something, it's $50 a month and it saves you 5 minutes a month, it's probably not worth it. But if that thing is saving you like 5 hours work a month, I'm happy to pay that. It's like, that's why you get a house cleaner. You pay $35 an hour or whatever it is to get a house cleaner in, or someone to even detail your car. Any of these services it's to take time away that you don't have to spend, so you've got more time to do whatever. And if you can justify that, then you keep the subscription. If you can't, then you get rid of it. That's kind of how I look at everything.
So it's really sort of, because I guess the point of paying here for people is gathering content. It saves them heaps of time, so they can bring their web development time down from 12 months to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, and it's even if stuff adds up, like following up, right? Like if you've got a bunch of clients and you're constantly having I use a little tool that bounces emails back to me. I think a lot of us do. And that I see that in my email and I'm like, even that little bit of stress, like, oh shit, I got to follow up with that client again, send the email, blah, blah, blah. That time adds up. The stress adds up. This is, I don't know. That's
actually, that's interesting because I remember your tagline on your website, which was something like we're web developers that'll actually return your calls.
Yeah. We respond to emails, finish the job, and don't suck.
Yeah.
Because that was the three, like when I had people throwing complaint stories at me about web developers, I just heard those three over and over and over. So I just went, okay, let's not do that.
And you managed?
Yeah, like I think I'm across email management better than most. And that's because, I don't know, like the whole zero inbox. Sorry?
You're an engineer?
Probably. No, actually, most engineers are rubbish. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just I think it's zero inbox is a really important thing. If you are constantly on top of that and have that bounce back system. So if there's something you don't want in your inbox, you can get rid of it and get it to come back in when it's important. And then just always clearing out your inbox, then you get back to people, like it seems like a simple process, but I know a lot of people don't, because even, people that I know really well will forget to get back to an email or something. I don't know what the answer is. I've actually just started playing with SaneBox. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, it's a cool little, it gives you a couple of extra folders where it automatically filters certain things out to them. Like anything that's a bulk email, like an invoice or something, I mean, you could do all this stuff with filters and rules anyway, but it kind of just does it automatically. It's got a bunch of rules and stuff built into it, and it's interesting. It's helped me with my email management quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, like I know that I'm probably the world's worst person to get back to emails. I mean, some of my clients have told me that, but they know. So they say, as
long as you finish the job and don't suck, right? You got
that's right. Yeah. Well, they put up with that because I seem to do a reasonable job. So
well played.
they just say to me, are you ignoring me again? I say, yep. It's because I'm I'm working on your stuff. You know, I can get to talk to you, or I can work on it. Okay, well, you keep working on it.
I'm doing a good job instead of talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it is. You know, I struggle with that. Like we've used a whole lot of systems to try and manage it. You know, we've tried getting everything into Asana, tried to get everything into a support ticket system, but there's always exceptions, and it's the exceptions that are the problem, I think, and just managing those exceptions.
Yeah, for sure. I think it helps to have other people you can offload to as well. You know, a big email burden was reduced from me when we set up Teamwork Desk, which is kind of that email support interface to our project management system, Teamwork, where I don't even go in anymore. So any website requests or change requests go into there, where my project manager sees it and automatically assigns it to one of the developers. So none of that stuff comes through me anymore, which it used to, and that it's just hard to keep up with, right? When you got a lot of clients.
And then that interrupts your whole thinking about managing a business and running the business and doing the marketing and all that side of things.
That interruption's the big thing. Hey, like that's why a lot of people will just block their email into certain times during the day. Stop that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
awesome.
Sorry for being quiet. I just signed up for an account on Content Snare.
Well played.
Yeah, it looks quite clean and straightforward. I've actually got a job that will be needing some follow-up on content. Or
only one job? I find all of them.
Well, I'm starting a job, so I think now would be a good time to use Content Snare from the beginning.
Very good.
So
you'll be able to get a review there for the website from the famous Robey Lawrence.
Indeed. Put you on the homepage for sure. Look at this dude's head.
Yeah. I'll how's that? Close up.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'll give you a testimonial, honest testimonial.
All right.
I'll tell you if I like it or if I don't.
Sounds good. Yeah, and any feedback's good, right? Like some of the best.
If you want to feel good, I'll give you a dishonest one as well.
I had a call with the famous Kath Hughes recently. We got in there and played around with it, and
nice.
Then we had a call where she sort of found all the things that she did and didn't like, and related all straight to the dev team, and they're on it. So I love negative feedback as well, because obviously if it's not working for people, we got to make it work.
As long as it's constructive.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Kat's always good, so she would have given you some good, honest feedback.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Any more questions, Nick?
I think I'm probably just about out. I'm supposed to be sort of going to my son's 16th birthday, so sort of feeling the pull behind me at the moment, thinking the presents are ready to be opened, and I'm back at the moment.
I'm feeling the pull to dinner. I like dinner.
Yeah. So,
yeah, and actually this co-working space shuts at 7, so they'll probably be kicking me out shortly too.
Well, there you go. We're all on a deadline. 13.
Well, we can see whether they'll sort of like if you just keep talking, how long they'll hang around before they actually just pull the plug.
Before the lights go off behind me.
And then they pull the internet as well.
Well, that was a bit like, what was it, WordCamp in Auckland this year. Last session there, poor guy that was presenting, the power went out, everything went out, lights went out. He was talking about copy as a journalist, and all these examples to show with words on the screen and how sort of the play of words actually changes the context of meaning and things. He could do none of that. He had to do it all in an interpretive dance.
Interpretive dance.
Poor bugger.
So no, I think that's probably me, actually, Robey, unless you've got something else. Or maybe James wants to ask himself something.
I'm good. Like I said, I got dinner.
Okay, cool. Well, if people want to find you, you are at contentsnare.com, correct?
I am. Thank you, sir.
And twitter.com/_Jimmy Rose.
That's me.
Lovely. All right. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Nice talking to
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Alrighty.